Welcome back to another episode of Light Beer, Dark Money. I'm Sean Noble.
I'm Chris Clements.
And these kinds of articles, this is an article from the Wall Street Journal.
Here we go, folks.
Jumping right in. These frustrate me.
Well, the Wall Street Journal frustrates me.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I try to read the Wall Street Journal, and it's the headlines are biased, the body of the news articles biased. So a poll that is upsetting you, of all people,
Well,
is not surprising.
Yeah. So this is a survey of 1,500 U.S. residents conducted back in July. And they asked people if they thought that the American dream was still alive.
Mm.
That is, the idea that hard work pays off. And only 31%
Really?
said that it still holds true.
Oh, my goodness.
46% said it once held true, but not anymore. 23% said it never held true. Which
Really?
I'm.
Then why are you living here?
Exactly. It's like,
Then what are you
what
doing?
has happened? Because it clearly, I mean, and this is why culture matters.
Oh, absolutely.
When we, and this all, I feel like every time I read something about people not understanding freedom or capitalism or
Markets.
our republic, not a democracy,
Yes.
all these things, it goes back to that speech that Ronald Reagan gave from the Oval Office, his final address to the nation in January of 1989, when he said, freedom is one generation away from being gone.
Yeah.
And we're watching this in real time.
Oh, we have watched it across the West.
I mean,
Western civilization.
Whether it's the question about, do you believe that the United States is the greatest nation on earth? And for years now, people have said no. We might be at a majority at this point that say no, even though it is the greatest nation that has ever existed on earth, without question. I mean, you just look at the freedoms and the opportunities and the lifestyle and the health of what we have created as a nation that has been exported largely to the rest of the world. I mean, it is the greatest nation on earth. And the American dream is still possible, regardless of what these people
Can I get on my
say.
soapbox just a little
Yeah,
bit?
sure.
Just
Sure.
slightly. So I think there's a direct correlation with what is reflected in this poll. And I've not seen this poll or read this poll, so it'd be interesting to go back and look at it. But with where people are on their faith journey and where faith plays a part in either their personal lives or their family lives, because traditionally our country has been seen as a Judeo-Christian nation.
Yep.
And I think those anchors, those pillars are under attack. They're under attack in many layers of our culture. And thank goodness there's some new polling coming around that people are racing back. Young people are racing back to the Catholic Church. They're racing back to Bible-believing churches. And if that trend is real, if that trend continues, there might be hope for the country.
There might be hope. Yeah.
There might be hope for the country, because if we don't have those anchors, if we don't have those pillars, we don't have a country.
So that is a great point. So let's go right to one of these clips that we're going to cover today.
Right to the hot takes.
Right to a hot take. Rashida Tlaib speaking in Detroit to obviously an Arab audience. Let's just take a listen to what she has to say.
Well, we don't want to paint all Arabs in this brush.
No. But I'm just, this is a People's Conference for
Yes.
Palestine is what she's at. So let's take it away.
I want to say to all of them, every genocide enabler, look at this room's mother. We ain't going anywhere. We are just growing and growing and growing. We are bringing siblings from other movements. It's not just Dami Palestinia. It's that as an American, this city taught me that the political structures that I have to work in, that we all are surrounded by, was built on slavery and genocide and rape and oppression.
Okay, let's stop right there. So the political structures that she has to work around, meaning the American political system,
Yeah.
is built on, what did she say? rape,
genocide,
oppression,
slavery.
slavery.
Yeah.
She is describing Hamas,
Yes, completely.
and she is projecting that onto the United States.
Yeah.
Did we have slavery? Yes. Have we overcome that? Yes.
We were the first country in the world to eliminate
I
slavery.
don't know if we were.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's true,
Well,
but it doesn't matter.
Because England might have been ahead of us.
I think they were. But the point is that when the founders started this country, it was to form a more perfect union. That was an aspiration. And we are still working on that. And we have places to, we still have work to be done. But the rape and genocide and slavery and oppression that she speaks of at a conference talking about Gaza, she's describing Hamas.
Well, and she's also describing, what's very interesting is if you look at the rape culture that's been imported into Great Britain right now, where is it coming from? It's coming from Afghanistan. It's coming from Pakistan. It's coming from Gaza. It's coming from those areas. And it's coming from a form of religion that's been radicalized to believe that women are less than. And so for her to get up there and talk about that in that way, when this is happening on a global scale, and where she would be under
Sharia law,
she
wouldn't be able to stand there
wouldn't be
without
allowed
a
to
hijab.
stand there and talk.
Yeah.
She would be less than in most of the Middle East.
Yeah.
Less than. And this country has afforded her the ability to become a United States Congresswoman, to speak freely without repercussion in the way that she has. And it is Hamas that is instituting genocide, not only amongst their people, but towards the Jewish people.
Well,
as well.
obviously to Israel. Yeah. I mean, it's just insane.
Yeah, she is a pathetic she is a face of evil.
So this goes to your point about how we're losing our anchors when it comes to our faith.
Well,
and needing to get back to a faith. And look,
I don't want to.
I totally agree that I believe that Islam can be here, but not the radicalized, violent version that is being espoused by the likes of Rashida Tlaib.
Well, if you look at what's happened to Great Britain, we cannot allow that to happen.
Absolutely not.
With the rape gangs, and now there's a massive movement. You're seeing, they're calling it right wing, but conservative populist movements all over Europe rising up because of because of what the leaders have done to their countries.
Because the violence that their young women.
Yeah, and it just proves like this idea that multiculturalism is a lie. Like, our culture is Judeo-Christian, period. That's what it is. You can assimilate or not. And if you don't want to assimilate, you can go somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, not to promote somebody else's book, but Ben Shapiro has a book out today called Lions and Scavengers. Talks to this very issue. We're either going to be the lions who protect our tribe, protect our pride, who espouse certain values and protect those values no matter what, or we're going to let these scavengers come in and pull down Western civilization. Yeah. That's what that book is about. I just started cracking it today.
Well, and it does. I mean, obviously, society is dealing with a lot of things. I mean, this shooting that happened in Minnesota last week, Catholic school.
Well, that goes hand in hand with the idea that you can change your gender. that is literally turning your back on God. That you are master of your own domain. You're master of yourself. And because you believe that you are God, that you can do these things. Yeah. And all it leads, and everything that goes with that, all it leads is to more confusion and more insanity. And if you are angry at God because of who you are, you're going to do wretched things like what happened in Minnesota.
Yeah. Well, and this is a situation in which this young man, at the age of 17, decided that he was going to be a girl and transitioned from Robert to Robin, did not do, any kind of surgery that we're aware of. But then in the journals that he's left behind,
horrible,
he has said that he regretted transitioning and was wanting to detransition. And you and I have talked about this before. The absolute anger and violence and ostracization of people who have transitioned and then want to detransition is outrageous.
Oh,
They are bullied. I mean, anyone who wants to try to detransition is just absolutely vilified,
which
by the hard left,
Yeah.
and by the trans community, and by the you name it, the allies of the trans community, and it's terrible.
Well, the allies of a lie. It's the ultimate lie.
It is the ultimate lie.
And
it's
it's been propagated for the last 10 to 15 years under a medical community and a political community that actually, I don't think they believe in the lie, but they want to profit off that lie. And that's where it's all. I mean, like our good friend David Schreiker likes to say, follow the money. And the money is speaking to the AMA and to the Pediatric Association that this is the right thing to do. And it's absolutely not.
No.
And you've seen, what, 7, 8, 9, I've lost count how many school shootings over the last several years have been committed by trans individuals.
It's 7 or 8 that are,
and it's alarming.
Well, and let's be very clear. Not one of these shootings has been a girl transitioning to a boy. These are all boys transitioning to women.
No, that's not true.
It's not?
No, the one in Nashville was a girl transitioning to a boy. And
Really?
Yes. And she shot 6 kids.
No kidding.
6 individuals, 3 kids and 3
That was a
adults.
girl.
That was a girl.
Wow, that's rare.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So,
all right, I stand corrected.
yeah, and she had a manifesto that wasn't released by.
They never did. Yeah, they never.
They took a year to begin releasing that. This person, everything was out there within hours.
Yeah.
And you know what's so baffling? We still don't know anything about that kid who tried to assassinate Donald Trump. Nothing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which is bizarre.
That is bizarre.
But anyway, we have a clip.
We don't need to worry about
All
that.
right, we're not going to go.
We already got that.
All right, we took care of it.
But let's shift gears. Do we want some comedic relief? Jon Stewart's funny.
We could have some Jon Stewart.
Let's find out
Jon
if this
Stewart
is funny.
sandwich.
I mean, it may not be funny. Let's find out.
I don't know.
Let's find out if it's funny. Let's do the corporate welfare versus socialism. This is where Alex surprises us with.
Yes.
To get our hot take.
When corporations fail, you pay for it. But when they succeed, it's theirs. They socialize their losses and privatize their gains. Why do we allow that?
Consider this. Wealthy people do not stash their billions in safe deposit boxes loaded with $100 bills. They don't do that. And they don't spend it all at the mall. They don't spend like crazy. No. Wealthy people invest. It is investment that creates jobs and economic growth.
See, this is the lie they tell you. That all this money flowing towards corporate and moneyed interests is actually for your benefit. The government intervention for corporations is our free market. But government intervention for workers is socialism. And that's the reason for the socialism scaremongering. It's a false choice. To make you believe that this country has but 2 options. A socialist, authoritarian, hamburgerless Venezuelan nightmare, or accept the status quo, where large corporations benefit from government help, then use some of those profits to lobby the same government for more government help. They want you to believe that in a free market, while your wages stay low, someday the largesse will eventually trickle down.
All right,
and in the meantime, enjoy watching your tax dollars help billionaires.
Okay, so that ignores the fact that these companies are owned by people who invest in them. You and I, anyone who has a 401k, who has retirement, who has just a stock portfolio. We're all owners in these companies.
Yes, that's true. And that's the best part of the system. I don't know what the context was with that, but thank you, Alex, for putting it up there. If the context is why is the government, taking a 10% stake in Intel, then he's not far off. Because government welfare needs to stop.
he's
for the free
I would say
market to
that-
work properly. There needs to be winners and losers.
Yeah.
And the government should not be picking those winners and losers.
Right.
Whenever the government picks winners and losers, we lose as a society. Because those risks and that flow of capital needs to be free flowing.
Well, what's interesting is, so I agree with you. I don't believe that the government should be taking a stake in Intel, and I think, when Trump says, "Oh, they wanted it," no, they wanted to be alive. They figured that was the only way to stay in existence. The same. Where was Jon Stewart? Did Jon Stewart criticize Obama when the government took a stake in GM and Chrysler during the auto bailout?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No, or
I don't
took
think
massive stakes in these solar companies like Solyndra that then went belly up.
I mean,
yeah, where was the taxpayer there?
He's not being consistent. It's because of who's in the White House, and I find that, and we all suffer from the whataboutism, but consistency is important. And I feel like you and I have been fairly consistent that we're free market guys who don't think the government should be picking winners and losers.
No.
And corporate welfare is a bad thing.
Yes.
We've been against subsidies for solar power. We've been against subsidies for, anything.
I wasn't for the CHIPS Act. I really,
No.
for that reason.
I mean,
I have
if
friends,
the CHIPS Act if it actually worked, Intel wouldn't be
No.
basically being taken over by the feds.
No.
The CHIPS Act.
Whenever you pick winners and losers, you're going to lose. And the CHIPS Act has pretty much proved that.
Yeah.
Is it in our national security interest to make sure that Taiwanese companies are coming here? Yeah, but you can do that through the tax code.
Yeah.
You don't have to give them billions of dollars
No.
of taxpayer money.
No.
You can actually incentivize them through the tax code.
Exactly.
How about a 10% corporate tax? How about that?
That would be great.
Or a zero repatriation tax.
Perfect.
How about that? How about a 15% capital gains tax?
That would be awesome.
How about that?
All these things.
There's a lot of things you can do that actually exist across the globe.
Yeah.
We have the highest corporate taxes across the globe. We have the highest capital gains tax across the globe. Eliminate the death tax.
Yeah.
How about that?
Exactly.
Even at 30 million, you're still not capturing everyone. Eliminate it. Now, some people might think that sounds very libertarian of me, but okay.
I mean, look, if you've paid taxes while you've been alive, the last thing you should be doing is paying taxes when you're dead.
Yes. And burdening your family with either selling the business.
Taxation without representation. If I can't vote when I'm dead, then I can't be taxed when I'm dead.
Well, how do you know you can't vote when you're dead?
Well, the Democrats.
How do you know that?
Democrats make sure I vote.
Yeah.
Maybe they're on to something.
Vote early, vote often when you're dead.
Maybe they're on to something.
Yeah.
Now I know why they don't want to repeal the death tax.
Yeah.
Because there would be, it's like, we can't make the argument of no taxation without representation. If we don't have a death tax, then they can't vote.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we might have just solved the election integrity issue.
Yeah, but the point being, if you really want free markets, you really want capitalism work, get the government out. Get them
out of the way.
Get them out of the way.
Yep.
Because once they stick their little pinkies in it, it all gets messed up.
That is so true. So true.
But I'm an outlier on this.
I don't think so.
In
I would
ways.
guess that
I've always been pretty consistent.
I would
about
guess that the vast majority of our audience feels the way we do on this.
Yeah, but then there's people, they're the scavengers, just like he said. I mean, that who believe that the government should run everything, and they're part of the elite, and they believe in freebies.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to a more a lighter topic.
Okay, sure.
That is of college football.
Oh,
just had our big first weekend. This is it's a Tuesday today. It's Tuesday, September 2nd. We just came out of Labor Day weekend.
It was a great weekend.
It was a great weekend. I know that you are big on the college football thing.
I am.
My brother Brett is an aficionado. I mean, the guy has like three large screens in his living room. He basically it's like a sports bar in his house.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And but You want to? You obviously
I mean,
there was a big
we talked
moment.
about
We talked about it last
week
episode.
with Cody, and this was Coach Corso's last headgear pick. He's been doing this since 1996.
I thought it was 87.
No, 1996 was
Has
the
he been-
first time they started it, and then they started it at the Horseshoe at Ohio State, and he picked the Buckeyes to win at that time. And I think we can fast forward along to where this is more of
So ESPN did a nice tribute, right?
wait, go right there. Yeah.
Okay,
Here we go.
Scroll of college football Saturday morning has to say right now.
I just say I think it's incredibly fitting that in 1996, when you asked Allison about Brutus the headgear, that you wanted to put that head on. And you did that 30 years ago. You put that headgear on and it became a fabric of college football. How fitting is it we're at Ohio State, Texas, in Columbus, and you've got one last headgear to make.
For those who are listening, this is Kirk Herbstreit talking.
This is one of the easiest picks I've ever made. Texas is loaded. Texas is number one. They have a Manning at quarterback. Poor Ohio State. They ain't got a chance. Give me my first love.
There it is.
Here it comes.
He puts on Ohio
Puts
State.
on the Buckeye.
And he was right.
And guess what? So Lee Corso on his last headgear pick was perfect for the day.
He was.
He
perfect for
picked
the-
Tennessee to win. He picked South Carolina to win. He picked Florida State, which is one of his teams that he played for, to beat Alabama. Guess what? They did.
Wow.
He picked Miami to beat Notre Dame. He picked LSU to beat Clemson. He picked Ohio State to beat Texas. It
did.
was unbelievable all day long. I'm like, what
Wow.
the heck?
I had no idea he was perfect on that.
Yeah.
You can stop
And then
that.
all the teams that he had been associated with or played for won. Indiana won. Navy won.
Really?
Yeah, they all won.
Wow.
It was unbelievable.
Definitely Lee Corso day. Then.
It was a Lee Corso day, and it was great. And
That, I mean, it was very, very cool that they did that live in stadium with the entire stadium there.
he wasn't going to pick Texas the way we thought he would.
Well,
pick
no,
Texas,
but
that
the
would
fact
be
that
horrible.
he
And Texas
because
laid an
typically
egg.
those picks would happen in the earlier in the morning.
Yeah.
You know, when it's outside the game and all that stuff. But the fact that they did this live.
Well, and what was really interesting and so cool is that all the other morning shows, there's really only two others. There's Big Noon Kickoff on Fox and CBS. They all had a kind of a dedication to Lee Corso.
oh,
Fox cut away to the headgear.
oh, did they?
Yeah, they cut
really?
away. That's how reverent they were, because so many of those guys on Fox actually, have been doing College Game Day their entire careers.
Yeah.
And even some of their producers were at one point were on College Game Day, and so it was a great send off, and I was crying. I shed a tear.
You shed a tear.
Well, because like I said in the show last week, I can't remember a Saturday where I didn't get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I was usually up anyway. Turn on the TV, and my wife's like, "Will you please turn it down?" And I would just have it on, and I would maybe go to the gym because it's a 3-hour show. But I would always wait for what his picks were.
Interesting.
And it just was part of the college football lexicon for the last
30 years.
30 years.
That's
And-
amazing. It's amazing.
And college football will never be the same.
yeah.
It'll never be. I mean, nobody can. You can't recreate that. To do so would be just kind of cheesy. So who knows what they're going to do? I know a lot of people watched College Game Day specifically for Lee Corso.
Well,
I
and
personally
ESPN
think Big
had-
Noon Kickoff is better.
they had record viewership this last Saturday.
Yeah,
They
over
showed
3 million
yeah,
people.
3.5 million people. pretty wild. It did, when we talked about this last week, we talked about 30 years, it got me thinking about time.
Yeah.
And you've seen a lot of like these big moments and these anniversaries. And like, for example, over the weekend, I went and saw Jaws at the theater for the 50th anniversary
Oh, wow.
of when it came out in 1975.
That's tremendous.
Isn't that amazing? It was 50 years
You
ago.
saw it in the theater?
I saw it in the theater in 3D. They've done and Steven Spielberg got on the screen beforehand and gave a little spiel about what they'd done to, and thanking everyone for
that's tremendous.
making it.
I didn't know that you could
And
do
that movie totally holds up. I mean, it is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
It is amazing.
Even that mechanical shark is still
Yeah, I mean,
one of the most frightening things you ever see.
and he said, the shark didn't work the way we wanted it to, but you guys overlooked that, and you still love the movie, and it's like
when that
it worked
shark
fine.
is chomping on Quint.
Oh my
Oh
gosh!
my gosh! Still, it's
Especially that it's riveting in the sense that, especially because, and if you haven't seen Jaws, you got to see it. But earlier in the movie, he's talking about having survived the USS Indianapolis.
Oh yeah,
when
it's one of the best scenes.
hundreds of men were eaten by sharks.
Yeah.
After that was torpedoed by the Japanese, and then to have him, perish by being eaten by
you
a
knew
shark.
that was kind of
It's kind of
dramatic
common.
foreshadowing
Yeah,
there.
exactly. But then I was thinking,
Robert Shaw was a tremendous actor.
we're coming up on this year is the 40th anniversary of Back to the Future.
Yes, I
We
saw
are
that.
we
the
are
other day.
long beyond the
And I
time that it
remember
came into the future.
I did not see Jaws in the theater because I was too young, but I saw Back to the Future in the theater several times. I remember that summer I was in Fresno and I went to see it with my cousin because that was the type of things we did all the time.
Could there be anything more disappointing than thinking about 2015 in reality versus 2015 in Back to the Future 2?
We have driverless cars. That's about as far as we've got.
But they were flying cars.
Yeah, that's about as far as we've gotten.
So it just, I think about the reason I think about this, I mean, obviously I just turned 55 last month and, or in July, I guess it's now September, but it's wild to think about.
Yeah. And then, I mean, to be losing your heroes too. I mean, we've talked a lot about musicians who have passed on over the last, musicians actually made an impact.
Yeah.
And, it's humbling.
Yeah.
It's really humbling. I mean, several years ago in 2020.
2020.
2020, when I heard that Neil Peart of Rush had passed away, and actually they announced it 3 days later than when he had. And my wife's cousin sent me the announcement because it was on the wires, and he was working for BMG at the time. And I thought it was an edition of the Onion.
Oh,
like I thought it was. This is a joke because he died of myoblastoma, which is brain cancer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this can't be real. This can't be real. And it was like the first one where this was a person I looked up to and followed
kind of
and
the
read his
cascading.
books and I was devastated and that kicked off like one of the worst years in American history.
Right.
But it was the first time, and to your point, like I started thinking about that passage of time. Like I'm starting to lose my heroes. I'm starting to lose the people that I looked up to.
Yeah.
In many ways, not just political figures, but musicians and leaders.
Well, and a big one that if you're a newsie, if you consume news at any level and have for the last 30 or 40 years, another big loss we had this last week was Mark Knoller.
Yeah.
From originally AP News, then CBS. He was a radio guy, so he had a great radio voice, and he was in the press room at the White House every single day. He was the keeper of, if you ever saw a stat about how many times a president golfed or how many vacation days they took, or it was Mark Knoller who was keeping track of that. He kept a log in his journal from 5 presidents ago to now. I mean, it's he was an institution, and to lose him, I think is he was only 73, and that's sad. But yeah, he was an institution in the news business and in the political coverage.
Well, we're gonna, in our advanced years, even though we don't look it, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna feel a lot more of this.
Yeah, we will.
And we're entering into a stage of life where we start our friends
Yeah.
passing away. We got some news about a friend this last weekend. A friend of ours had a massive stroke. And she's 52, 53.
Oh my gosh.
She's in the hospital right now.
It's terrible.
And I can't believe it. Like, it's one of those just aha moments that time is precious and time is ticking.
Hug your kids. Tell those that you love them.
Yeah.
You don't want to miss out on that.
Yeah, and I saw something the other day about somebody was asking, you still have littles, like they're in high school, they're in junior high. Just savor this time.
Yeah.
Savor this time.
Or
little littles like you, who, you have the great opportunity to do it all over again.
Yeah.
And so
So
savor
much
the
fun.
time. We were in La Jolla over the weekend with some friends, and a picture came up on my feed of my daughter Campbell and her best friend Emmeline from back, like, when we first started going to La Jolla over Labor Day. And then I was like, we need to take this picture now.
Yeah.
Yeah, take a picture of this.
Repeat it. Yep.
And repeat it. So we did. And
Awesome.
It's pretty cool.
Very cool. All right, folks. Hug your loved ones.
Hug your loved ones.
Tell them
We'll
you love them.
See and hear you again on Thursday.
Take
God
care.
bless.
Thanks.